and welcome to our review of Emily, the pre-service teacher at Fairy Meadow Demonstration School. We have reflected on her lesson plan, video and evaluation. Let's get straight into it. Over to you, Ella.
Thanks, Meg. Classroom management is fundamental in professional practice as it allows the achievement of positive educational outcomes, with Oliver and Reshley stating that it establishes the environmental context that makes good instruction possible and manages student behaviour. According to Emily's supervising teacher, she meets all classroom management expectations satisfactorily. Emily effectively demonstrates her awareness of different learning situations through her teaching considerations, extensions and modifications provided in her lesson plan. Emily's ability to specifically identify that students will require more assistance when they rotate to the green hat due to requiring complex thinking aligns with the Australian Professional Standard for Teachers of knowing students and how they learn. Emily therefore achieves Centre 1.5 as she can meet the specific learning needs for each student. Emily, as a pre-service teacher, successfully applies effective classroom management considering management strategies require experience. However, for Emily to further develop professional and ongoing learning, she must consider that when implementing group work, as seen in the video, students are easily distracted. Therefore, she needs to establish and maintain management strategies to ensure student focus and engagement, such as adopting the strategy of actively scanning the room. This limits students becoming unfocused as the teacher is aware of who is awaiting further instruction and what groups need monitoring, promoting the element of engagement in the quality teaching framework. Demonstrating this strategy can help her improve on the classroom management areas of using disciplinary practices and consistently reinforce classroom practices and routines, which will help her achieve the Australian Professional Teaching Standards 3.3 and 4.2. I will now pass over to Meg, who will give insight into Emily's ability to implement in the classroom.
Thanks, Ella, for that wonderful review. The next section we will critically reflect and review is implementation in the classroom. Having a strong introduction and conclusion are fundamental parts of any lesson plan. Lesson introductions have the ability to interest and motivate students for the upcoming lessons. They focus student attention and give the lesson a purpose. Keeney J. 2013. Emily was able to meet these expectations, and this is also evident in her lesson plan evaluation, in which she scored very highly. A vital component of the Australian Professional Standards of Teaching is the ability to plan and implement effective teaching and learning under professional practice. Emily was able to meet these criteria successfully as she became well organised to the lesson and had prepared a PowerPoint slide with relevant learning information for students to watch along and learn from. The pre-service teacher was also able to provide a strong recap. Article by Genski 2017 states that conclusions are vital components to any lesson as they provide a satisfying sense of closure and the recap of the learning. Thus meets element of the QTF, which is deep understanding. Emily was able to meet this element as she got the students to form a circle and recap the lesson, allowing them to form a deep understanding. However, one area in which we believe Emily could improve upon is the area of recognises and provides for student differences. It is vital that teachers extend students which need to be pushed and provide extra support for students who need it most. Emily worked really hard to move her way around every group. However, we couldn't help but wonder, what if a student finished early? What if a student still didn't understand? Another key element of the APST and the QTF includes social support and assess and provide feedback and report on student learning. In order for Emily to meet these expectations, she should consider providing students with extension activities as well as forming smaller focus groups for students who need extra support. Now on to you, Emily.
Thank you, Meg. Next, we will review the professional practice section of communication in the classroom. Classroom communication includes the face-to-face interactions and the communications necessary between the participants involved in the classroom to ensure that learning takes place. In the classroom, the teacher's role in regards to communication is to instruct and inform. Emily in her lesson was able to meet the criteria of successfully being able to communicate with her class she was teaching. Emily in her lesson was able to project her voice to the class in a way which was clear, concise, and with enthusiasm, which was engaging for her students. With talking being the main communication method in the classroom, it is vital in teaching that teachers speak to their students in a way which is suitable for their age. For example, you wouldn't necessarily communicate the same way to a kindergarten class as you would to a Year 6 class, as they are at different stages of their educational and social development. Emily used non-verbal communication such as tone of voice, body language such as using her hands, and also using eye contact with her students. Studies by Yusuf and Halim show that accompanying verbal messages with hand movements helps teachers convey meaning to their students. Overall, her communication skills throughout the lesson were effective and appropriate for the students of that age and were able to also incorporate non-verbal methods to further convey her instructions.
Through our analysis of Emily's lesson plan, evaluation and lesson video, we believe that Emily as a pre-service teacher meets all professional knowledge and practice expectations during her Stage 3 English lesson, with her successfully demonstrating above-level expectations in her implementation and communication. However, if Emily wants to attain above-level expectations in all teaching areas to achieve all graduate-level Australian professional standards for teachers, she should consider how group work can impact her ability to manage the classroom, as well as consider how to extend students who are at high intellectual levels. Reflecting on these elements through ongoing learning and development will help Emily in becoming an effective teacher.